Hi everybody. Hello, we just started our live chat or Ask Tatyana live. Let us first try to check op- if everything works well, if you can see me well, if you can hear me well. There are some first comments. That's great. I hope very much that um, during this time some few people will switch on and will join us. I'm very happy to see, or better to say, to read you here. That's great that it's worked, and I hope very much that we will have very informative and funny hour together. So it's actually the first time that I do this kind of things as Tatyana Live. In September, there were several projects that I started, and one of them was live practicing. And it was very exciting, and I will repeat it in coming month in October. On the first Friday of October, on 5th of October, there will be once again live session, live practicing, how I really practice. And you, of course, you can join me on Patreon. It's only available on Patreon. And today we make Ask Tatyana live. So it was the thought was that you don't need to wait anymore so long until I make a video uh, about your question and give you an answer. Of course, the usual Ask Tatyana videos will be continued, and for example, next week we already have another very interesting episode for you already ready. So on the coming Friday, next week Friday 28th, I think it will be new Ask Tatyana video with a topic about stroke, flying stroke, standing stroke. Really very interesting topic. It will come next Friday, so you can stay excited. And today I'm here to answer your questions. And I see already that there are really many comments coming. And let's take a look. First, I promised to answer on a question from Christian, who wasn't able to join us today, unfortunately, because he needs to work. But I promised that I will answer his question and then he can take a look at recording at the answer. So I would suggest that we start first with this question. Probably it would be also interesting for somebody of you. The question was about work with the metronome. And just read the question. I have a question about slow practice and speed increase with metronome. I always practice slow mostly if it's new material, but I'm not sure if it's necessary over time gradually increase the tempo or if the speed will come itself without having to force. It's a really interesting question. In general, I think to work with a metronome, it's one of the most necessary things if you really want to improve yourself, to improve your skills, and of course to improve your technique and velocity especially. So when you start to work on a piece, the most suitable way, of course, is to start to play and to practice slowly. So you first take the lowest step of the metronome where you can play very exactly, very clean, and all your movements are absolutely right how you want to have it, and of course it sound how you want to have it. And after you get the feeling that in this slowly tempo it works well and you can manage all the things coming, it's necessary also to make one step higher and to play a little bit faster and to practice it also with metronome faster, because of course when we play only slowly, we will not be able to play fast just automatically. It will not happen. So also each kind of velocity need to be practiced and trained. So if you want, for example, if you have any difficult passage, that actually should be faster, start with the lowest tempo very slowly, and then improve your tempo step by step with the metronome together, because only then you will be able to still to keep the new tempo continuously, and not just to start fast and then slow down when you play and when something difficult comes. So of course it's necessary to go through all the steps with metronome if you want to achieve the fast tempo. So start here and go to the top. Now, otherwise it will not work as well. So let's take a look at your comments. There are so many of them. First, I'm very interested. Where are you from? I see we have something around 200 200 people here, and I'm very curious to see where you're from. I saw Argentina. I see Canada, Brazil, Peru, Belgium. That's great. Once again, Brazil. Something that sounds very Italian for me. Romania, Vietnam. Wow. So we have Texas, Colombia. That's really wide range. That's really great to have you all here. So let me take a look at your questions. If I can pick already something, for example, there was a question, just the very first comment from GEBLC. How long did it take you before you started to like how you played? Oh, it's a really funny question. It's a good one. I have never thought about it, but how long did it take before you started to like how you played? It depends. Of course, when you start to play an instrument and you make the first sound, it can already impress you a lot. So I think the first moment where I thought, "Oh, it sounds really good," I think it was quite early, maybe in the first lessons. And then, of course, when you develop yourself and when you learn something new, at one point you can come to the point where you play much better as you played before, but you are somehow not really satisfied with it. So there is something like, as much as more you learn, as more you understand that you don't know anything. So it's always like this. And now it takes quite a long time till I get satisfied with my playing. And I think it actually happens when I can play the piece more or less perfectly. And perfectly, I mean the idea, the ideal way of playing of special piece. When I come close to it, then I can be satisfied. But it's actually not so often, unfortunately. So we take a look for some other questions. How to just need to go through to find something. There is, I speak Spanish, but I understand English from Villa-Lobos. I can speak on a few words Spanish, so unfortunately I will not be able to answer the question in Spanish, but in general, I haven't seen anybody till now from Germany or from Russia, but I just wanted to encourage, if there is anybody from you who would like to get answer in German or in Russian, I can do it with a pleasure. It's not a problem. So something, when you are coming back to Brazil from Leonardo. That's a good question. This year in March, I really did my first tour in Brazil, and it was really, really exciting, and I enjoyed it so much. So I hope very much that one day, maybe in the not so far future, we can repeat it, and I can visit the old and probably new cities again, and to learn about a little bit more about your country, and to meet you in person after the concert. It's really something very special. Um, let's take a look. What do we have? Oh, some comments there. There is a question from Cesar. I'm Colombian. Someday, could you play something of Gentil Montagnard? Yeah, actually, why not? Actually, why not? I love very, very much South American music in general, and I feel very inspired from it. And my previous, my current program, especially from the last CD, is very, it has a lot of South American music, and I'm started to work also on some of South American music again. So probably you saw the newest musical video by Antonio Lauro. Some other worlds will also come in the future, and why not? Why not? I'm actually very open for a good music, so I can imagine it very well. Um, there is something from Adalberto. Hello, Tatiana. How many hours does the guitar study daily? You mean how many hours I study usually? It depends. It depends how full my schedule in generally is. If I need to teach a lot, if I'm on a concert tour, or if there is everything together. So actually, it depends, and I try to hold more or less something about 2.5 hours, and it's actually the practicing session in Patreon that are available now on each first Friday of the month. There you can also see absolutely full, complete practicing session of mine. And last time it was something about 2.5 hours. It's for me. For me, it's the perfect time where I can stay the whole time very concentrated, because I think if you cannot concentrate yourself well, and if you're tired, it doesn't make any sense to play much longer, because practicing is something about getting better and being very effective, and not so much about just doing something. So I try to keep my practicing as effective as possible, and to use this probably not so long time, but to use it with a maximum. So after 2.5 hours, I can achieve really a lot. And beside this, after 2 hours, honestly, I'm quite tired. My hands need some rest, so that's good for both, for head and for the hands, to make a break and to do something different. And actually, if you really use this time very effectively, it's enough. I know that some musicians like or think that they need to do it for over 5 hours, 7, 8 hours. If it works perfectly for them, perfect. But I think practicing is an important part, but it's not everything. And to be able to play music well, you also need to not only to sit the whole day in your room and practice, but you also need to leave, because otherwise you will not have anything to tell in your music. Yeah, you need to join the life, you can make your experiences, and then you can express them in the music. So don't forget life, not only practicing. From Alexander Sidorov. Александр, привет! Если будут вопросы на русском языке, я с удовольствием на них отвечу. Um, from Ines, there are guys who want to marry with you. What do you think about those miserable poors? I have a very, very long list, waiting list for marriage. So if you want to be the next one, please let me know. But I'm not sure that I will be able to do it in this life. But never lose hope. Maybe next life. How are from Bruno? How are your experience play the song Sons de Carillons? First of all, it's the most challenge for me is to pronounce the title of the song really well. And as I was in Brazil, I thought I could manage it already quite well, but it's some times ago already and I miss it again. But it was quite a big fun to play this piece. I got one time a very funny comment on this piece. Somebody wrote me that it was the first piece that he studied when he started to play guitar. It was the first piece what he played, and I was very curious because I don't think that this piece is really so easy, or at least that you can start to learn guitar with this piece. Of course, it's always the question how you play the piece, and there are quite some challenges there, not only technical but also musical. Yeah, so it was very funny to know that in Brazil you start to learn guitar with this piece. Um, there is one more question from Brazil, from Kelsey. Play in the studios de Villa-Lobos. Yeah, maybe. I'm not such a big fan of course, I played many of them during my study time when I started guitar in university, and of course, it was a necessary program of study because it's good for your technique for development. But honestly saying, I'm not such a huge fan of studies by Villa-Lobos to have them just like in a normal program. Some of them are really very interesting also from musical side, but some of them sounds for me too technical, too much like study. And but it's my personal opinion. On the other hand, I enjoy very much the products by Villa-Lobos, and I didn't play them yet because, or I played some of them, but not completely, or not in my last concerts because there was a time, especially during study, that everybody played these products. Everybody, you could hear it everywhere on each corner, and it was obligatory. And it was like, I don't know if you have the same impression, but very often, if I hear one piece too often, too much, I don't want to play it. It's just like, okay, leave it. So, but I think I'm almost over this phase. So maybe in the near future there will be some preludes by Villa-Lobos in my program. So let's take. Oh! I missed something. Oh, there came so many. Let me find where we stopped. Oh, I lost it. Okay, doesn't matter. So just pick up any next question. Sorry if I'm not able to read all of them. We'll see if we have enough time. But anyway, we will do this Ask Tatyana live again in October. And so if your question will not be today on the road, next time for sure. So there is probably from David Barnett. When are you coming to London? Good question. I have been to London in 2014. I played a concert in South Bank Centre, and it was a really great experience. Um, at the moment, unfortunately, I don't have any exact date in Great Britain, but I hope very much that soon it will be so far, and it will be a great pleasure to come back for me again. And so let's stay tuned. As soon as we'll be sure, you will see the announcement on my homepage. But it will be really great to come to London again. Have from Ray, have trouble with bar chords? Yes, I can encourage you. You're not alone. I think there are many of us who really have problems with bar chords. They are really naughty and sometimes not so funny to play. But having right technique or practicing it continuously, and especially practicing the power in your left hand and the ability of playing for a longer time would also help. And I'm sure that I will make on this topic on bar chords an extra video in Ask Tatyana series. So I think it will be for sure interesting for many people. So I will talk about this topic once again in a more complete form. There is a question from Manuel. Do you have a dream for your life right now? A big project or something? Regards from Paraguay. Yes, I have a dream for my life, and I have a dream and I want so much that all my relatives and my whole family stays healthy and wealthy, and that's for a very long time. And about the projects, yes, we are making a very exciting project with a gentleman, the crossover project, and we actively started this year, but actually this project was already in the work since 2 or 3 years. It needed a long time to prepare from the stadium of idea to make it grow up and to develop repertoire, to make arrangements and to find perfect musicians, and so there are many things coming together. And in April this year we made our first debut concert in Germany, and just on last weekend we played our next concert, and both of them were really very successful, and it was absolutely emotional and great to see that your idea to make people happy and to make them come with the music and to make them to lose the borders in the head about different kinds of music, or about that classic could be boring or something like that. It's really great to see that it works, that it works not only in your head but in reality. And people were absolutely happy after that, and we had standing ovations several times. So that's really great, and I wish a lot that we can get bigger and bigger, and that our audience can grow, and we can make more and more people happy with our music. So it's probably at the moment one of the important projects for me, beside my classical side, beside my lessons, beside my classical guitar music, this crossover project, and something what we are working for, and we want to make it bigger. So something different. Um, how many hours should I practice as a beginner? Good question. It depends what do you want to achieve. If you just want to play a little bit, then it could be probably enough 15, 20, 30 minutes a day. But if you want to achieve any bigger goals, to be really good, or to develop your technique faster, and to be able to play after 1 year already quite interesting pieces, then it would be good something around an hour. I say it um, very backholded. Why? Because it depends. Of course, when it's one thing if you start as a child, or if you have family and job and all this stuff, and then it's just a hobby for you, and you started to learn instrument. Of course, you need to find a balance in your life, but probably I think then the more important question in this point is not so much how long you really practice, but how you practice and how often you practice, especially in the beginning time, in the beginning period. Because I always say to my students, um, it doesn't make so much sense if you will not practice. For example, we have lesson once a week, and if you don't practice 6 days, and on seventh days you sit down and play for 3 hours, it will not bring so much. It will hurt your hands, and you will not be able to develop yourself. It's much better if you can practice each day 30 minutes, but each day. Yeah? Or if you are not able to practice each day, okay, 3 times, 4 times a week for 30 minutes, 1 hour, 1.5 hour, whatever. Important is just that you do it continuously, because our fingers and our head need regularity. And the more regular you do it, as faster you can improve your skills. And of course, the question is also how you practice. If you just play something for 20 times, it's also maybe not the best strategy to get better. Let's take a look. Do you have in your playlist from Emmanuel? Do you have in your playlist some music from Manuel Ponce? First question. No, until now, no. Manuel Ponce was for me also from my study time. Don't know why, but somehow probably also because everybody played this composer and this piece in Sonata Classica, Sonata Romantica. Maybe because of that, I didn't get an inspiration to play it also by myself, because it was just too much Manuel Ponce around me. And for a long time, I really didn't want to play this music at all, and it wasn't my composer. By the way, the same thing I had with Capriccio Arabe by Targa. It was for many, many years my absolutely hate piece. And I never thought that I will play it ever. And now it's probably one of our best viewed videos in the moment, and I absolutely love this piece now. So Ponce wasn't till now my favorite composer, but there is I get inspired sometimes from my students. I must be honest. Sometimes when I start to work on any piece with my adult students, and we work on it, and I get deeper and deeper in the music, I notice how beautiful it actually is and how you can make it sound in reality. And then I get it inspired and I take it my repertoire. The same was with Mallorca by Albanese, and some other piece will come soon. So I think once I will be so far to play also something by Ponce. Maybe not yet, but let us be surprised. Another question by Emmanuel, very fast. Can you share some of your Beatles songs arrangements? I did make Beatles song arrangement. The arrangement of Michel, the arrangement of Michel that you know from YouTube. It's not made by me, but it's made by Italian guitarist and arranger, um, Gilardino. When I'm sure, I need to check it once again. I think it was made by Gilardino, and I think please let me know if no, but I think we made a link to this transcription after the video. I'm not sure. I will take a look if there is something, but should be actually. So this arrangement is actually not from me. Um, Something else from Insidia 85. Tatyana, is it right that unlike electric acoustic guitar, if you want to really learn classical guitar, you can't get by with self-learning without a master? Good question, and I've got it already several times, just in the private mails. Um, Also, it's always the question what you would like to achieve. If you just want to play a little bit for yourself, you can be self-taught. There are many lessons and many tutorials that are available now. But if you would ask me, I would like to start to learn classical guitar. What should I do? I would recommend you to find a teacher. To find a teacher, especially for the beginning, also because there are so many technical nuances and details and things that you can make wrong. And this making wrong, it's not the problem itself that you do something wrong. You can always make any mistakes and then you can make these mistakes better. That's not a problem that you make mistakes. The problem is that when you self-taught, very often we get any wrong habits in the hand position, in the work in both hands, or in our posture that can have a really great influence on not only on the quality, on the current quality, but on the whole progress. So it can happen that you get a habit that after several months will put the limit for you and you will not be able to go through it, or you just have any difficulty and you struggle yourself with it. And when you're alone, when you're self-taught, of course you can search for any information in internet, but it takes a long time and there is no guarantee that you will find the exactly answer you need. So it means if you are alone with the teacher and you have a problem, you need much more time to solve this problem. And when you have a teacher, but not just a teacher, you need to have a good teacher. Now, the teacher who understands a lot in technique and music and who helps you personally a lot. So if you have a good teacher in the beginning, you save so much time and you have much less struggles. If you have a question, you come to the next lesson and actually it should be solved there, or you will be shown. It will be shown for you any way how you can solve this problem. So I would recommend you to have a good teacher in the beginning. Anyway, we scroll down. There is a question from Hakan. Have you ever tried to play well-known flamenco pieces? Yes. Actually, I grew up with flamenco because my first guitar teacher was absolutely big fan of flamenco. He was a big fan of Segovia, Andre Segovia, but also flamenco music. So I played many flamenco things just aside by the classical music, and it helped a lot to develop technique or special several parts of technique anyway, and it was quite fun to play this music. Now I don't play so much flamenco. It's a little bit out of my view, but I have one piece that I have for many years already in my program, Malagenia, that I play often at my concert, and it's available only at my concert. There is no recordings of it, and I just want to keep it only for live performances and for live experience. Will you come to France or Switzerland? Good question. It looks somehow a little bit difficult with these both countries. Cannot explain really why, but somehow seems to be that there is not so much opportunities there, or not so much interest in general for classical guitar. In the current time, I have no dates for these countries. Um, the closest one, yeah, Italy, the end of October, or Spain at the end of November. But I will also let you know about exactly dates and availability. Um, there is a question from Scott. What is the most difficult arrangement you have ever learned? The most difficult arrangement, oh, I need to think. Actually, in general, I had an impression that the arrangements that are made from piano to guitar, that in generally they are the most difficult. From violin, it's not a problem. From lute, also not a problem. From a violoncello also works perfect. But when you try to play arrangement from piano, made from piano to guitar, they could be really tricky. And probably when I can speak about difficulty, a tricky one was was my own arrangement of Chopin Vals Opus 64. It was a tricky one. It was not so really easy to play. And I have also one absolutely beautiful piece, Tambram by Isaac Albéniz. This arrangement was made by my ex-professor, by Thomas Müller-Pering, and it's absolutely amazing arrangement. It sounds really amazing, but it's also difficult to play, and it's very challenging one. But it sounds perfect if you can. So this one was also difficult. Trista Rosa, once again, piano piece, is also not so easy as it might sound. It's very often like that the music sounds quite easy, but when you start to play it, not so anymore. But Trista Rosa works well. No, it's difficult, but you can manage it. From William, which way you find the best to grow your musician network? That's a good question, William. There are many ways how you can do it. You can do it offline, you can do it online. There are many different ways. The most traditional one, or the old one, is to visit us as much as possible guitar festivals or guitar concerts, guitar competitions, and to meet different people's professors and colleagues, and come together and try to do something to make an exchange. Or very often it works in the festivals like today I invite you, tomorrow you invite me. So it's some kind of exchange. um, Another way is also when you play concerts, to also to come to the audience, to talk with the audience, to make a personal contact with the audience, and not just by holding a border between musician and audience. And of course now we have so many possibilities in the internet, all kind of social media. But honestly saying, in the last time, I'm not really sure what is Facebook about. It changed so much in the last time that I don't really know exactly what should it bring, or what is the best way to work with it. But actually, your own community on the YouTube, or for me, it's also Patreon. We have a really family community there, and we exchange many things that are not available for absolutely everybody, but you can be a patron very easy with a absolutely minimum amount, just much less than 1 cup of coffee in month. And it's also a very important part of community. But of course, of being able to make a network, you need to be active. No, anyway, very active, to communicate, to tell about yourself, or to show your music, to show yourself, and to talk to people a lot, to make a personal contact. Mhm. There is another question from CSB. What are your goals for the future as guitar player? Touring worldwide, teaching lessons full time. For me, both sides are really important. Teaching and playing concerts. I think I couldn't live without one of it. So if I would need to teach the whole time, it wouldn't be possible for me. I think I would be quite unhappy. But don't misunderstand me. I teach a lot, and I love a lot to teach. The same is also with the concerts. If I wouldn't be able to teach, and should always be able only to play concerts and to travel and to tour everywhere the whole time, and to have something around 100, 200 concerts a year, it wouldn't be also anything for me. So I need to have a balance. I need everything. I need to have concerts, I need to have long journeys, I need to have not journeys at all. I need to have many lessons, I need to have less lessons, I need to have Skype lessons, I need to have children at lessons, I need to have adults at lessons. So sometimes it's not so really easy to keep everything in a balance, because as soon as you go on tour, you cannot make lessons, and the way around. But all these things make me happy, and goals for the future, to be able to play as long as possible, and to be able to do music for you as much as possible. And I have on my list, on my wish list, so many amazing pieces that I really want to learn, and somehow I cannot get enough time for that. But I hope that step after step I will manage it. Worldwide, touring worldwide, of course. I'm very lucky to have it already now, and we are quite a lot time in the year away and on different sides of the world, and it's really great, because then I can really meet you in person and see who you are, and shake your hand, and give you a hug and to say personal thank you for listening to my music and for being at my concerts. And this personal contact is absolutely important for me. And yeah, so I hope it will continue at least as good as it's now, and I'm that I'm able to do it as long as possible. From Rodrik. Привет, спасибо тебе огромное, ты самая лучшая. Спасибо. Спасибо огромное, очень здорово иметь вас здесь. Пару русских здесь имеется, и это хорошо. Я очень рада. В общем, ребята, если будут вопросы на русском языке, с удовольствием задавайте их здесь, я смогу ответить. For everybody, it was just a short Russian because there are some Russian comments there, and it's usually in my many comments or many questions on my Ask Tatyana series. Why you don't make it in Russian? Why you always speak make these videos on English? Because actually the most of my audience comes from English-speaking countries. Of course, there are many also from Spanish, but unfortunately, I'm not able to speak so fluently Spanish, so I can make Ask Tatyana with it. But English is from the history, just the language that you can understand more or less everywhere. And Russian is unfortunately the language that is not so very well known, or of course in Russia, Belarus, Ukraine, people speak Russian, but maybe that's it also. And so there is always a little bit difficult if I will make some series in Russian that most of my audience will not be able to understand it. But here there is a possibility to do it. So let's take a look. We have a little bit time. When are you coming to Australia from Tony? That's a good question. I haven't been in Australia till now, so it will be for sure a very interesting goal for the future. Good question. As to be able to come to any country, and it doesn't matter if it's Australia or France or Brazil or anything else, I cannot do it by myself. I'm not able to organize concert, being in Germany, to organize it outside, because it's very complex theme and there is a huge structure behind each concert. So it means that concert need to be organized at the current place, and it means that I need organizer who works in a special country and make this concert possible. So as soon as I have an organizer in the country, it would be great pleasure to come and to play. And I think one day it will be so far, or at least when you know somebody. If you know somebody, if you have any contacts to any guitar festivals or concert organizers, of course you can let them know and to say them your wish to see me live, and maybe then will come something together. One question in Russian. I'm sorry, I will read it in Russian and answer it. If you like, I can make a short translation for you. From John. Кто сейчас самый крутой гитарист в мире для тебя? Знаешь, честно говоря, делать обозначение, кто самый крутой гитарист, я очень остерегаюсь таких вещей, потому что очень сложно говорить об этом в музыке. В спорте ты можешь сказать, кто самый быстрый бегун, потому что это объективно, у тебя есть часы, у тебя есть расстояние, ты знаешь, вот он добежал за такое-то время. Это объективно измерено, и это факт. Музыка до такой степени сложная вещь, и она так много имеет общего со вкусом каждого из нас, у каждого из нас абсолютно свои предпочтения, свои вкусы, что сказать, он круче, чем вот этот, вопрос вкуса, вопрос предпочтения. Кому-то нравятся быстро играющие гитаристы, кому-то нравятся брутальные ребята, кому-то нравятся симпатичные девочки, кому-то нравится кто-то, кто играет романтичную музыку в основном, кому-то нравится, кто играет громко. Кому-то нравится электрогитара, кому-то нравится классика. Все до такой степени разнообразно, что очень-очень сложно сказать. И, честно говоря, это здорово. Это здорово, потому что иначе тогда не надо было бы иметь столько музыкантов, тогда достаточно было бы иметь одного самого крутого, а все остальные могли бы уйти на пенсию. Хорошо, что у нас разные вкусы, хорошо, что у нас разные предпочтения, хорошо, что у нас есть музыканты разные. The short translation, there was a question, who is the best guitarist in the world, and I just said that it depends. Music is not the question of sport, of time or distance. We can measure it in a sport, but in music it's very subjective, and it's always the question of taste. So I like something like this, you like something different, and your friend will like anything else, or um, I think there is no kind of music, nobody where you can say he is the best or she is the best. And it doesn't matter if it's guitar, piano, or something else. It's very subjective, in my opinion. One question from Romulo. Hi Tatyana, I'm 13 and 30. Just started studying the classical guitar. My teacher is very happy with my progress and suggests I pursue a career. Thoughts? Do you know any who plays as a job who started late? That's a good question. That's a really good question. It depends what you would like to achieve. What kind of career do you really want to have? If you want to be anyway, I think it doesn't matter how early or how late you start the career as a teacher is always there. So anyway, it's something what you can do with each age. The question of really concert playing guitarist. It's also not impossible. Absolutely no. Of course, it depends only on you, on your progress, and it's just 90% of hard work and 10% of talent. So there's actually good news that with a lot of work we can achieve a lot. But probably what will not work as good for you are competitions. If you ever want to take part in the competitions, maybe there, maybe it will be difficult. Just because many of the winners start already as a children, and with their 30 years they play already over 20 years guitar, and it's just for you not possible in this moment. And on the other hand, many competitions has age limit, and it's with 30 or 35. Some of them has no age limit, but so that could be probably difficult. And about the concerts, maybe many years ago it wouldn't work. Now, thanks to internet and thanks to possibility to present yourself to the whole world, much more doors are open for us, for musicians, and there will be only the question first how good you can develop yourself, which level you can achieve, and then maybe even more important question, if you could find something special, something typical only for you, something that makes you different from others, something where people can recognize your style. And if you find your style, and if this style will be very clear and exactly and very good seen, then why not? Then I think there is nothing in the way that you can be really professional classical guitarist. As I said, today we have so many opportunities, is you just need to find yourself. And just on the side, one important thought: it's not so easy to earn money as a musician, or especially as a classical guitarist. So it's a really hard way, and they will need a lot of work, really a lot of work, and a lot of thoughts and a lot of ideas how you can manage the whole life with the earning of musicians. But also in this point, there are many possible or some more possibilities as they were 10 years or 5 years ago. So it's not impossible, but it's maybe not so easy as when you get a stable job. But it's the question what you want. If you want to have the stable earnings and know that your income is absolutely sure, then probably you need to get any other job. But if you have a lot of joy in music and you have great ideas and you work hard and you believe on yourself and you develop yourself and you stay open, then you could have a good chances. Mm? Just try to think for yourself what is better for you. So, and let's take a look. Let's take a look. What do we have else? You're starting from Heinz. Good thing that you are starting this YouTube format. Oh, that's good to know. That's really good. It was just the first test, and I wanted to take a look how it works, but I think it works quite well. Yeah? Do you offer from Joka A21 Joka? Do you offer Skype tremolo lessons? I offer Skype lessons. Yes, I do. And they could be on absolutely different topics about tremolo, about legato, about your position problems, about improving your playing, about musicality, and everything what you want. The thing is, if you want to get any Skype lesson with me to schedule it, you can write me a message on my school page, Tatyana gitarrenschule.de, and there you will get some information about Skype lessons, and my assistant will contact you and to make all the organization things. There are now some waiting lists because I'm not able to manage all the questions, all the requests in this short time. But if you have enough patience and patience, then we can come to a Skype lesson. So I have a look. We have 1 minute left. Oh. And I think it will be a little bit difficult to answer all the questions, so I just scroll a little bit down and pick something out. It's not so easy. There are so many. There are so many. As I said, if I cannot answer on all of them. Yeah? Next month, in October, we'll have another possibility to talk again together, and it will be again third Friday of the month. I will let you know about the exact date in my Tatyana news video. So, just one question from Reldoc. Wie gehst du an die Interpretation eines Stückes hieran? German. Ich spiele das Stück, ich lerne das erstmal, und nach dem Spielen habe ich normalerweise schon eine Vorstellung, wie ich das gerne machen möchte. Also ich spüre die Musik sozusagen, ich fühle sie. Dann habe ich ungefähr die Idee, wie es sein könnte. Wenn es dann schwierige Stellen gibt, dann versuche ich mich zu erinnern, ob ich das schon irgendwo gesehen habe, so was Ähnliches und wie habe ich das damals gemacht. Und dann versuche ich das zu adaptieren. Und wenn es gar nicht hilft, dann versuche ich ein Original mir anzuhören und vielleicht von dort eine Inspiration zu schöpfen. Short translation: there was a question about how I make interpretation of the pieces, and I said that usually I play the piece, I start to play the piece, and usually I have already from the beginning an idea how I would like to make this piece. I feel it. I feel it. Music speaks with me, and I know exactly where which emotions will be. If there is anything where I don't feel anything, then I started to think if this particular place reminds me on anything that I have played before and maybe other pieces, and if yes, how I did it there, how was it there. Usually it helps. If it doesn't help and no ideas at all, either I don't play this piece anymore because it's not mine, or I just listen to any original recordings. And original, I mean, for example, if it's any transcription from piano, then I take a look at piano transcription or piano recording and try to listen how it was played in original instrument, and maybe then I will get any kind of inspiration. So we need to go slowly to the end, and unfortunately, as I said, it's we had quite some time, but it's unfortunately not enough to answer all your questions. And but as I said, you will have an opportunity to ask me again, and I will be absolutely happy to talk to you again next month. At the end of the month, on third Friday of October, it will be 20 something. I will make once again Ask Tatyana live at this time at 2 p.m. German time. And next Friday, as I said, on 28th of September, there will be new regular episode of Ask Tatyana, and I will talk there about stroke. Very, very important topic: flying versus standing stroke. Will be a lot of stuff, a lot of helpful stuff there, so don't miss it. Next Friday and the Friday after that, on the 5th of October at 4 p.m. German time, I will make my practicing session again live on Patreon, on my Patreon community, and there you will be able to see exactly how I practice, which exercises I do, how long, how I work on new piece, how I prepare myself for the concert, and so on. And after practicing time, I make usually 10-15 minutes where I can answer your questions if you have some questions about what you have seen before. So anyway, many, many great things will come in the next time. I was so happy to have you all here, and it was absolutely great that there were so many of you. And tell your friends, so maybe next time we can hit the mark, the next one, and we'll have another great questions. And thank you so much for spending this time with me. Thank you so much for listening, for watching, for asking your questions, and I wish you absolutely amazing weekend, great time, and hope to see you, on 5th of October at least, or then on 3rd Friday in October of the next Ask Tatyana live session. Thank you so much. Have a great time and see you very, very soon. Bye bye to the whole world.